Good morning, everybody. Jim Hoffman here, pastor at St. John's United Methodist Church in Midtown, Kansas City. It is Monday. I'm a few minutes early for our daily devotion. We're actually hosting a funeral today for Country Club United Methodist Church because they have air conditioning issues, so we agreed to do this. And so we're in the middle of all of that. So I thought I'd do my devotion a little bit early because they're going to get started here pretty soon, and I've got a couple of other things to help my pastor friend Sean out to make sure that they get started on their service as they would like. So I'm going to post this a little early just so you know. Some of you might find me, you might be ready for me, you might not, but we're going to dive into this pretty quickly today. Your reading for today comes out of the 23rd Psalm, so you might want to find that real quick. Psalm 23. That's where our reading is, Psalm 23, friends. All right, I'm going to start now so that we can get through, because I need to light candles and things like that pretty quickly. So, our prayer of illumination is, O God, by your spoken word, you created everything that is. By your incarnate word, you redeemed us. By your comforting word, you are with us still. Prepare us now to hear your word to us this day. Amen. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Our devotion writer today is Mike C. Bertoglio. Mike is from Washington. His focus verse is verse number 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Here's Mike's devotion. My wife and I were at the airport going home from a trip to New York City. In the check-in area, we went to get a wheelchair for my wife. While waiting, we noticed the other people around us, including one woman in bright festive colors, red, blue, yellow, and purple, with a head covering and a shawl. Her husband stood next to her in the waiting area. After some time, he took out of what was his duffel bag what looked like to me a towel. I thought, what is he going to do with that? He laid it on the floor, stood facing a certain direction, then knelt down, touching his head to the ground. At this point, I realized he was doing his daily prayers with a prayer mat, not a towel. He continued praying as my wife and I waited for a wheelchair. I admired this man's devotion, especially in a busy airport. As I watched him pray, I felt compelled to recite Psalm 23 silently to myself. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 calls us to pray without ceasing. At first, this may seem like a daunting challenge, but many things can prompt us to pray. A siren, a news story, a person in pain, or the opportunity to witness someone else's prayer life in an unexpected way. So the thought for the day is, what daily prompts call me to prayer? What daily prompts call each of us to pray? Right? Think about that for a moment. We are probably, I know we don't exist in a religious tradition that has multiple times during the day where we are called to pray. Certainly in the Islam tradition, they have the minarets that sound for time during the day, so that they have their 5 times of daily prayer. There is in more Orthodox Jewish tradition specific times of the day in which you pray as well. And so we might be used to that. Some of us might be in a habit of our own where we have a specific time during the day that we pause to pray. You might have a journal that you write in. You might have a card. You may have one of our worship guides that has our prayer list on it. Things like that are tools that you use, but you take a moment to just pause and focus and pray. I think it's interesting what it means for us to have those kinds of disciplines in our lives. One of the fascinating things, if you ever take a trip to the Holy Land, is you're going to fly with some Orthodox Jewish people, and the men get up in the middle of the flight and they're praying. They put on their phallics, and they'll have a box that's up here tied to their head, and they'll have a strap on one of their hands. It has a little box on it. Those are the words that are on your heart and on your hand, or on your head and on your hand. And then they pray, and they'll have a prayer shawl. And it seems foreign to many of us because it's not the tradition that we grew up in. But no matter what your form or your fashion, we are all called to be people of prayer. We are all invited to spend time sharing in communication with God what's on our hearts and on our minds. And I wonder how many of us actually take that time. I mean, God's just waiting for us. God's looking for us to be there, to be present. God's wanting us to be people who are in constant communication with and to be people who are making our petitions known, our intercessions for other people, our supplications, our desires. We're sharing with God our hearts, our anxieties, our stresses, our joys, our elation over things. God desires to be in that kind of a relationship with us. And sometimes I think we just think of it more as just kind of this ethereal, God's always around us, so God just kind of knows what's going on. But, there's one thing to spend time in the same household with someone. It's another to actually communicate and be in relationship with them, right? If you think about it. And so I would encourage you to think about your time that you spend with God. What does it look like, really, to try to figure out how to live into 1 Thessalonians 5:17 that says that we should pray without ceasing? What does it look like for us to be a people who really try our darndest to find times throughout the day to just pause and say a prayer, to talk with God like you would pause and talk with your family members and your friends, to keep in constant communication with the one who certainly wants to constantly be in communication with you. Let's take a moment, friends, to pause and pray. So, God of the universe, we thank you for your creation. May people of all faiths support and encourage one another in that discipline and the call to prayer. We thank you for your grace and your love. Amen. All right, friends. Well, again, sorry, folks, I had to start this a little early. Like I said, we're hosting a funeral here, so I got a few things that I got to go do to help out my friend Sean. And so I'm going to do my quick invitations to you, and then we'll depart for today. For those of you that are watching this later on, leave a quick comment and say hello. Would love to hear from you. We've got a couple of folks that joined. Hi, Barbara and Chris. Great to see you. Hello, Stacy. Good morning to you. But for those of you that watch later, I'll look for your comments. And feel free to share this on your own Facebook page. Maybe one of your family and friends will take a moment to join in our devotions with us. Come and join me tomorrow for our devotion time. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Pause and pray for one another. That's important. I'm praying for you. I hope that you'll pray for me. And then I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here today, friends. Bye, everybody.